All right, but you hear me well. The day will come, oh yes, mark my words, Seinfeld. Your day of reckoning is coming, when an evil wind will blow through your little play world and wipe that smug smile off your face. And I'll be there in all my glory, watching as it all comes crumbling down. 'Cause we watched Season 9, Episode 23, the finale. So, Katie.
Hello. That was something.
I've done a couple of dramatic readings
Yes.
on this podcast.
Yes.
I think I saved the best for last.
You made Wayne Knight a little bit British.
He leaned into that.
Okay.
Do you remember that scene? Like, he was foaming at the mouth.
Yes. He had a very wet mouth, I noticed, while he was doing it.
He's a wet kisser.
Yeah. So here we are.
Here we are. We made it.
This is it.
This is almost. Did you try to plan? You were meticulous in wanting to do podcasts on certain days, and I think we are now one day off of this being the 4-year anniversary of our first recording.
It's almost like I planned it that way.
It is. And if it had been a shorter episode, we might have been able to record yesterday, but we watched the episode yesterday.
Yes.
And we are recording the episode today, right now, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Listeners at home,
as we speak.
We are currently recording. You might not believe it.
Did you also pick up on the fact that, well, this will come out as episode 179, and then we will have a wrap-up episode 180, and that's exactly how many Seinfeld episodes there are?
It's kismet. More importantly, did you like this episode?
No.
I kind of don't blame you. I mean, somewhat infamously panned.
So I knew that ahead of time.
Sure.
Here's what I knew about the finale prior to watching it yesterday.
Okay.
People didn't like it.
Yep.
The gang ends up in jail.
Okay.
That's all I knew.
Yeah.
At one point, I wrote glorified clip show.
Do you want to talk about that?
I think we will.
So if you're watching, Seinfeld DVDs or on Netflix, presumably before on, what was it on before Netflix?
NBC?
Whatever. Peacock?
I don't know.
Hulu? There's like a clip show episode.
Yeah.
So.
But did that air on TV?
Oh, it totally did.
Okay.
So on the day that this aired, and I haven't gotten to that because we haven't done our things. On the day this aired at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, they started airing the clip show, followed through with then doing the finale, and it was a 2-hour block.
That's awful.
Tons of Seinfeld.
Okay.
And I actually wonder if, it was, we didn't watch the clip show, because we've been doing the podcast and we've seen all the clips. But we didn't watch the clip show. And so I wonder if it would have been less jarring to watch the finale where there was all these clips inserted at the end. If you were like pre-charged
with a clip
having watched a clip show.
Unless they use the same clips.
I don't think so. Maybe they did. That'd be a thing to.
Great. Now I'm going to have to watch
you're going to have to go and check. You have to watch the clip show and figure out whether or not the clips that were in the finale were in it. So a couple of things. So it was a full 2-hour block. This episode on Netflix has a runtime of 56, 57 minutes. So with commercials, that works out to an hour and 15 minutes.
Okay.
So the clip show took the first 45 minutes, and then it was an hour and 15 minute extended finale episode.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in syndication. So they, 1, cut it in half, 2, cut out a bunch of scenes.
Oh.
which is kind of interesting because they actually even had more scenes that they cut out of like this airing of the 115-minute episode.
Jeez.
So they had like additional, just kind of like after they were arrested, Jerry and Elaine talking. They had like more guests. So actually,
did they have more witnesses that they cut out?
They did. And you can actually see in the montage of like when the jury is deliberating, you can see a couple of people that they didn't show on the stand. So famously, like Poppy is there. He wasn't on the stand. There's a couple of other people.
I thought maybe they were showing restraint.
No. They wanted to not. But
at the beginning of my notes, I just wrote up its own.
Yeah, interesting. It's kind of interesting. Like, so we talked about it in the previous episode, and it's like Larry David has said, like, it was difficult because everybody in their own mind had what they thought the finale should be, and you're never going to satisfy that. Having this like homage to episodes past, like, it is kind of weird in my mind. Like, you want to pay some service to fans that like have watched the show through the ages, but at the same time, like, you're replaying all those old jokes.
You're not giving them anything
You're not giving them anything new. So it's like,
you're really doing a disservice. You're going, hey, remember this? Remember this? And everyone's like, yes, I do remember that. And I want you to give me closure on this thing.
So two things I'm going to say. Like, one, I think a clip show is almost for like new fans as opposed to like diehards that like, they're like, I know these things already. You don't need to remind me of it. Larry David has somewhat defended this finale. Jerry Seinfeld, on the other hand, had in interviews since has kind of said that this wasn't like doing a, bring everybody back. Like it didn't translate into jokes and wasn't the best way for them to.
At some point I wrote, how many minutes has this not been funny?
Yeah. So, I don't know if you know, in Curb Your Enthusiasm, one of the storylines that they do is Larry is trying to do a Seinfeld reunion.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's a dialogue between Jerry and Larry. And Jerry said, like, you already messed up one finale. And Larry's like, no, I didn't. That was a good finale. It worked. Or like something like that. So,
yeah. At some point, I stopped myself from asking you to pause just to see how much time was left. And several minutes later, I was like, oh, it's got to be almost over soon, right? Like, the whole last third of this finale, basically, even before the testimony started, I was just like, I haven't laughed. Do you know the one time I laughed in this episode?
Where are the jokes? Yeah. No, I don't. It was yesterday.
When the verdict is guilty. They're sentenced. I'm sorry, there's usually a separate sentencing hearing, but whatever. They're sentenced to jail time. And then Elaine goes to Putty. Don't wait for me.
Okay.
That's my only laugh.
That was pretty good. The timing and tone and curtness, is that the right word, of the okay was, I mean, Patrick Warburton. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So this episode was written by Larry David. It was directed by Andy Ackerman, and it aired on May 14th, 1998. Vulture.com ranked it as the 167th best Seinfeld episode. So
two from the bottom?
Two from the bottom. Screen Crush had it slightly higher as the 169th/170th best episodes. IMDb rankings have it as the 151st. Yeah. For the most part, they all kind of agree that it's not as bad as you remember it, but it's not good.
Okay.
76.3 million people tuned in to watch.
I was going to ask you, did you watch this live?
Oh, yeah.
What did you think? Do you remember watching it? Who were you with? What were you doing?
I don't remember any of that.
I assume you were at home. I wasn't watching it on May 14th, 1998. That's for sure.
Okay.
What did you think at the time?
I don't. I probably didn't think it was as bad as the general public did, and I kind of probably thought it was like, wrapped up. Like, I think anything ending, there's like a
mourning period.
Well, not a mourning period, but there's a sadness, right? Mm-hmm. And so for a comedic show, how do you go out properly? I don't think that this episode is as bad as these ratings make it seem. Mm-hmm. I do think there's a lack of jokes, and until you get to the trial, it's kind of just fine.
Yeah.
So fine isn't bad, but fine is fine.
It's par for season 9.
Fine is not great.
No. But
that's what it is.
Well, before we continue, we should throw it back to last week when I asked you if you remembered the finale of Seinfeld.
Mm-hmm. The Jerry TV show is back on, and they get on a private jet to fly out to talk about it, and it gets rerouted.
And?
I did.
Okay. Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer are arrested for violating a Good Samaritan law, leading to a trial featuring characters from the show's past. That's the Netflix summary.
That is what happened.
I get the sense that this show loved its guest stars, and it loved its recurring guest stars.
Yeah.
And the way they brought back all the writers for last episode, and it didn't turn out very well. Bringing back all these guest stars for this one didn't turn out very well.
That's true, but you have to remember they wrote, filmed, and produced all these episodes before they aired. Right?
Yeah, so that's usually how it happens.
Right, but they didn't get feedback. It wasn't like they got feedback on the last one and they're like, let's try the next one. We'll make it better and maybe we should do something else.
I'm not saying they turned it around in a week and they're like, well, people hated that. Let's do it again. I'm just saying the sentiment is a good one. The execution is poor.
Larry David had said one thing that he would change. So there's a lot of secrecy around this.
Okay.
And it was like Larry David knew that he was coming back, but then he wrote a script and they gave it a fake title. It was called A Tough Nut to Crack for all the planning and writing. And they did a table read and they collected all the scripts and destroyed all of them except for one copy. They were very, and he was like, the secrecy caused us to think it was going to be better than it was. And retrospectively, he wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, no feedback.
They hired friends and family to play a bunch of the tertiary roles. So it was basically the gang and a bunch of other people so that nobody knew what was going to happen. They filmed a fake ending where they were found not guilty, which is available on the DVDs. And it's actually very similar. It's literally just the person saying, or the judge saying not guilty, or the jury foreman saying not guilty. And then the Rosses react differently, but it's basically the same after that.
But they don't end up in jail at the end, I assume.
Well, that's a private thing that they could film with fewer people, right?
Okay.
So there were a few guest stars.
You're not going to go into it, are you?
So there was Wayne Knight, Jerry Stiller, Stella Harris, Lee Sheridan, Barney Martin, Ian Abercrombie, Stanley Anderson, Francis Bay, Peter Blood, David Bird, Tony Carlin, Steve Carlson, Melanie Cardoff, Ryan Doyle, Murray, David Dunnard, Donna Evans, Jeff Ewing, Richard Fancy, Warren Frost, Ryan George, Philip Baker Hall, Terry Hatcher, John Heyman, Richard Hurd, Keith Hernandez, Steve Heitner, Carlos Jackott, Scott Jack, Wendell Jessifer, Robert Katniss, Scott Clays, Jane Leaves, Len Lessler, Bruce Mayer, Wendell Meldrum, Phil Morris, Sherry North, John O'Hurley, Ed O'Ross, Kevin Page, James Pickens Jr., John Panett, Victor Rader Wexler, James Rebhorn, Peter Reigart, Geraldo Rivera, McNally Segal, Miguel Sandoval, Rennie Santorini, Gay Thomas Wilson, Larry Thomas, Myra Turley, Patrick Warburton, Jane Wells, Danny Woodburn, Grace Zabriskie, Van Epperson, Jeffrey Thomas Johnson, Sean Warren, Diane Travis, and could we forget Jim Zalevic. 2 guest stars in that list where this was their first episode guest starring. You might have missed because I listed all of them. So we had Stanley Anderson, who played Judge Art Vandelay. Mm-hmm. He was in Armageddon, RoboCop 3, and Runaway Jury. We also had John Panett, who played Howie.
I'm guessing he's the carjacking victim.
He was the carjacking victim. He was in the original movie The Punisher. He was in Junior. And he was in a movie called The Last Godfather. Now, I saw the title The Last Godfather, and I was like, okay, is this at any way related to The Godfather. What do you think? It was not. Would you like me to read you the IMDb description of the movie The Last Godfather?
Please do.
The Last Godfather, 2010, PG-13. Runtime 1 hour and 40 minutes. A mafia boss trains his mentally impaired son as his successor.
Oh.
It is directed by Hyung-Rae Shim. It was written by Hyung-Rae Shim. And it has a 3.5 out of 10 ranking on IMDb.
I thought that he looked like the enormous orphans in Blackadder Christmas Carol.
Okay. That would have been a long time before.
Well, it was 1988, so he would have...
10 years older?
Yeah. Even though it's British, whatever. What's his name again?
John Pinette.
Well, that wasn't him.
Okie dokie.
He was not an enormous orphan. Not an enormous orphan. So this episode starts with stand-up.
It does. So because Larry David returned, some of the responsibilities that Jerry had to do after Larry David's departure, Larry David took them over. So Jerry was able to plan out a stand-up.
That's why he didn't do stand-ups this whole season?
Because he took on more roles as an executive producer.
I thought he just had a bag of them and he just pulled them out because sometimes they had nothing to do with anything.
Kind of like this time.
No, we got to sit down.
But sitting down in a metaphorical sense. The problem was Kramer needed to sit down in a literal sense.
I wrote stand-up. Mm-hmm. Now everyone does stand-ups.
Everybody, yeah, it's a whole agile thing.
Yeah.
You got to do stand-up.
You don't have time to sit down.
They, one of the literal things is doing your stand-up, physically standing up, causes people to want to get through it faster. Yeah. So you don't spend too much time doing it. Man, my team, it was a bit of a, they did not want to do a stand-up. It was an extra 10 minutes out of their day.
Uh-huh.
So I tell a joke at the end of every stand-up.
And so now they really don't want to do it.
They did ask why I would ruin their day by telling a terrible dad joke. And I was like, it's only going to get up from here.
Yeah. I just wrote some random stuff. Nice day. Yeah.
Here's a thought.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, this is a nod to time having passed because Elaine has a cell phone.
Elaine does have a cell phone. I think it's really funny how they're like, oh, this is a huge faux pas, calling someone from a cell phone.
Oh, Taurus.
What's wrong with you? I did witness somebody walking down our street doing a full FaceTime.
Oh. FaceTime's anywhere but in your home. Unacceptable.
I really hate video calls.
Yeah. You're on them all day. But I understand. Yeah, you can't, there's nothing that you need to see when somebody is talking to you.
It's not better.
It's not better. And I was working in a coffee shop yesterday and someone was on a FaceTime at a coffee shop on their terrible internet and it kept cutting out and they kept repeating themselves. I'm like, how long are you going to put up with this before you stop? The putting it on speakerphone and then holding it to your head.
I don't get this.
Well, my phone that had the speaker behind glass and I couldn't hear anything. This is why I got a new phone. I couldn't hear anybody on the phone because I guess Google decided that you don't need to use your phone as a phone. So they put the speaker behind glass and it was a noted problem with that model that you couldn't hear anything on phone calls. So now I have an external upper speaker so I can hold it up to my head like a phone and use it as a phone.
You really hated that other phone.
I hated it so much. But I don't think everyone has that phone. I just think everybody puts it on speakerphone and holds it to their head like an idiot and then turns it around and shouts into it and then puts it back to their head.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're onto something here. Taking a phone call outside your house. Why? Did you notice in that scene, you can see the microphone wires hanging out of Jerry's pocket?
I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah. They're just they're like, who cares?
Last one. They're charging $1 million per commercial for this one. They don't need to worry about production value.
One guest star I wanted to know about was the NBC executive. Because he's new, right? The one who came back. It's okay. But he's the police detective from The Mask.
Okay.
Whatever his name is.
There was more new people. So I did go through the guest list, and like from memory, I was like, okay, there's the judge. There's the guy getting attacked. And I was like, after that, it's probably like most people. Then after watching the episode, like there's the NBC executive, there's the pilots of the private jet.
Yeah.
So there's new people too.
The pilot had such long scruffy hair. I don't think you're allowed to.
You gotta be a pilot. You gotta be. Got a haircut that you can set your watch to.
Exactly. Like Johnny Unitas.
You know, I kind of like George going to the bathroom and then, where do you think this relationship is? If you think of introducing an open door urination policy, let me dissuade you of that thought.
In this episode, they say pee party twice. And they could have said it a third time if Poppy got on the stand.
They could have.
I liked the line, "You can't be bleak in springtime." They were talking about where to go on the private jet, and Elaine wanted to go to Russia.
So, I mean, I guess we should, if you listen to the podcast and haven't watched the episode, Jerry and George are contacted by a new executive at NBC to resurrect the Jerry episode, and they get access to the private jet.
Yeah.
In the meeting, where they're like, George is, talking to the NBC executive, they say, can we get anything? He said, what do you have in the fruit department?
He was even more obtuse than usual in this episode.
Yeah.
He's just sitting in the NBC waiting room screaming water.
Do you think that's because, they had lost their inspiration for George's character over the past 2 years, and then Larry came back and was like, okay, here's what George would do in this situation.
Did you also notice that Michael Richards had like a blown out vessel in his eye?
No.
It wasn't there at the end of the episode, but at the beginning, the inner corner of one of his eyes was all red.
If you could get on a private jet, you have access to a private jet, go anywhere. Where are you going?
What's the range on this thing?
Apparently, from Russia to Japan.
Russia to Japan is not that far.
No, but you're in New York.
Oh, okay. South Korea.
Oh, cool.
Where would you go?
I go to South Korea. I don't know. Japan?
Well, I figured once we got to South Korea, we could just hop over.
Hop on a ferry and go over to Japan for a little while. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
New Zealand, something super far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see any staff on this jet. It was just pilots and the gang. I would hope that there'd be someone in the galley.
I think I've told you that the algorithm sometimes feeds me a private jet company.
Maybe it's because I'm constantly Googling it.
Maybe. You have said like your life goal is to like fly private. The thing is with and
with this podcast, we're going to get there.
Man, yeah. Once these sponsorship dollars start rolling in, the thing with the reels or the YouTube videos is I don't know if it's real or not. And it's not like they're making a joke or making it funny. I just I'm skeptical of like a private jet company filming them like booking and like playing the recording of these like
do you think it's all AI?
Incredibly annoying. No. I think it's like actors like making like they play like these very vapid, rich, like, oh my God, my dad flew me to Paris and I need to be in Maldives by tomorrow morning. Book me something right away.
I don't know what internet you're on because I don't see that kind of stuff.
Man, the algorithm is the worst thing in the world. Don't you think?
Well, if you work hard enough, you can force it to feed you nothing but cat videos.
Do you sometimes be like, okay, my algorithm's a little messed up. I'm going to like start training it and you like selectively pick things to like get it back to what you...
It has me working for it exactly I work for the machine now.
I don't want to do that.
But I mean, I'm tuning my entertainment. So if it starts to veer off from what I like, yeah, I'll spend a couple minutes going, not interested, irrelevant, never show me this. And then it's back on course.
I had to, like in the Google News feed, it sometimes posts like things from X, and I was like, don't ever show me anything from X.
Well, your main problem is you're using Google News feed.
Google News feed's good.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Another good line from this show, once, I guess, the plane lands, or the plane is crashing, and George yells, I knew God wouldn't let me be successful.
Yeah. They make it canon that George cheated in the contest.
Mm-hmm.
Great, I won.
Why would we want to help someone? That's what nuns and the Red Cross are for. You don't have to help anyone. That's what this country is about. Jackie Childs.
I mean, maybe more poignant today than when he said it 27 years ago. Like, I kind of remembered when, because this was a thing that was happening, right? Like Good Samaritan laws were being passed. And it was like, you should help people out if you can. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, obviously the argument that Jackie Childs should make is that it was unreasonable for them to help a man that is being held up at gunpoint.
Exactly.
If it is reasonable for him to get out of his car from fear of being shot, it is unreasonable for them to help him, regardless of their character.
Exactly. The reasonable to do so is right in the law.
How many carjackings do you think happen in Latham, Massachusetts?
I feel like they could just catch this one guy and then it would stop.
I think he might be the one guy causing all of the crime.
Didn't they say later, like, I think it was part of Jackie Child's defense was like, you brought these people in here while the real criminal goes free. This
is true.
Is that an OJ reference?
Oh.
I had a couple random thoughts as they're preparing for this trial and everyone's, packing their bags for Latham, Massachusetts. No wheels on any of these suitcases.
Oh, no. Wheels on suitcases were more recent. There was like high-end suitcases back then, maybe.
Yeah.
But like it's a very, very new thing for like all suitcases to have wheels.
Everyone just schlepping a bag.
Ball bearings were like, privileged, reserved only for the
rollerblades among us. Did we notice before that Newman has one of those old-timey wiggle machines for losing weight?
Maybe. I don't know. So one thing from the clip show that I noticed, Susan is the one that actually popped the bubble.
Yes! I wrote that down too!
Yeah. She got off easy.
When Babu was on the stand.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And they said, he came all the way from Pakistan. I'm surprised they didn't bring up a map and show a little cartoon airplane flying to, I guess, New York and then doing a transfer.
So when they were like bringing in the carousel of past guests, it was like long and they established them like, oh, and who are you? And what happened? And then they started like speeding it up a little bit. And then they slowed down again. And I was wondering if you cut it so that it was just like
one line.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like,
this is what he did. This is what she did.
And there was a contest where they were trying to not gratify themselves. And she stumbled in the sauna and grabbed onto your breasts.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right.
I think you could cut this so that it just like runs through that. Still like makes reference to
why are we going through full procedure of the judge calling the name and then the bailiff calling the name and then they walk in? I'm surprised we didn't see them with their hand on a Bible swearing to.
You just like draw it out.
And then Geraldo and the reporter do a recap of the clip show within the clip show.
I wonder if like having had a commercial break in there might have made us like,
hey, you might have forgotten the 40 minutes of repetition from previous episodes we just showed you. So here it is again.
I mean, commercials in the late 90s were quite compelling.
My thought at the end of the trial was, if you lined up all the crappy things that I've done in my life, yeah, I would look pretty guilty too, right? they're not. I know they're supposed to be terrible people, but they're not really terrible people.
So one of the criticisms from the show, and I think both Vulture and Screen Crush commented on it, is that it was seen as the Larry David or Seinfeld or the production company being like, you have tuned in for 9 years to watch these terrible people, and like by doing that, you yourself are
You're enabling
terrible.
them.
And so it was like an insult, like a middle finger to the audience. I don't think they're as bad as they are.
No.
Or as they were portrayed.
No.
Or maybe anybody is. You take all the bad things that anybody has ever done.
That's what I just said. I didn't understand Daphne's hair. I have to discuss.
It was 90s. It was,
I know it was the 90s.
It was in the Rachel...
There were at least 3 main lengths.
Layers?
There were hundreds of layers, but there was like the front part that went behind her ears.
Every woman wanted to look like the...
broccoli?
Pineapple.
There was like sort of a round layered part around the main part of the head, and then there was a long flip out at the bottom.
A wilted pineapple in a cape.
Yeah. I couldn't stop staring at her hair.
It was very 90s.
Did you notice the jazzy Seinfeld theme that played at the beginning, and then the sad oboe?
They had a couple
Seinfeld
of
theme?
like riffs, playing it in a minor key.
Mm-hmm. So Jerry asks Elaine, what were you saying as the plane went down?
I will always love United Airlines.
I'm a Delta gal myself.
Delta's fucking terrible. All U.S. airlines are terrible. I just saw apparently Air Canada is implementing the thing that Porter does where you get free booze.
Great.
Yeah.
What, on the plane?
Yeah.
Great.
All routes.
Wasn't that how it used to be?
Probably. And then they just destroyed all the competition.
Yeah.
Like, everybody hates us. Let's give them free booze.
Well, does help. And there's an ending stand-up.
So there is an ending stand-up. And it was filmed weeks after the rest of the show because they filmed it and cut it, and then they were like, it ends on the second button conversation, which is a reference to the first conversation that happens in the pilot. It's basically word for word exactly how the series starts. Mm-hmm. And they realized like it was too much of like a down note for like the series to end on, so they filmed this stand-up bit afterwards. Elaine not in it, obviously, because women prisons and men prisons, co-ed prisons didn't exist anymore. Apparently they were a thing at a time, apparently. Oh. But it felt like this was a better representation of how the show should end.
I disagree.
Okay. I think that would have been like a good, like, fade to black.
Yeah.
Fang.
Yeah, exactly. This was kind of like, well, realizing that, we screwed this up. So here's some silliness for you.
Yeah.
I say if you're going to nosedive that plane, just ram it right into the ground.
The plane has crashed into the mountain.
I mean, I couldn't believe that they let Jerry say, you'd think the weightlifting and sodomy was enough punishment.
It was, I mean, making fun of prison in the late 90s was all the rage.
And when he got heckled, I did laugh. He says, I don't come down to where you work and knock the license plate out of your hand.
Maybe the best part of the finale was this thing that they added. Maybe they were right to add it. I don't know.
I don't know. I looked up whether prisoners still make license plates. Uh-huh. And in Ontario, they do.
Oh, wow.
Among many places in Lindsay, Ontario. I couldn't find out if they make the crappy blue ones there.
They stopped making those.
I know.
Okay.
Or if they made them there. Uh-huh. Because they were a 3M products.
They weren't at Deco labels?
Well, I thought. This is why I went down this road. They're back making them at the prisons now. Mm-hmm. And did you realize that the reflection wasn't the problem that like the police were complaining about with those crappy new blue license plates? It was that when it reflected, you couldn't see the jurisdiction. So the word Ontario didn't like fluoresce.
Okay.
And if you write a ticket and you don't have the jurisdiction, it gets thrown out.
Oh.
But couldn't you then just assume if you can't read it, it's Ontario?
There could be no plate.
They came out in 2020 with almost 200,000 of these crappy plates.
Mm-hmm.
They decided not to spend a single dollar on getting rid of them. They're just like, we'll just let them get replaced.
Eventually.
Mm. In 2021, there were still 178,000. Last year, there were still 124,000.
Friends of mine, at the time, they bought a car, and it was a bright orange Mustang, and so they didn't want the blue plate because they were like, oh, it'll clash. And it was like in a brief window where if you got a custom plate, it was still the old style. So they purposefully got a custom plate.
Smart. I should have done the math of attrition of at what rate, when are we finally going to see the last crappy blue plate?
They're just very ugly. Along with Elaine having a cell phone, Jerry has a beeper.
And they let him keep it in prison.
Yeah, you would not be able to.
I guess they're in jail.
Sure, they're in jail, but I don't think you're allowed to keep your shoelaces and belt and stuff, right? Like they're worried you're gonna.
I mean, in Latham they have one cell in their police station, so they're not going to separate Elaine. They're not going to It's like the guy's just sitting there watching them and don't do that. What are you gonna do?
What was the weird prison food that they were eating? It's like mashed potatoes and something,
gravy and some kind of chipped beef.
Prison food.
Apparently not bad.
George still wanted ketchup.
What's your milk level?
I used to do it once the cereal started floating.
Okay.
And I'm a cereal first, milk second.
Oh yeah, why would you put the milk in first?
Absolutely. But you are, and we've argued about this, you don't finish your milk.
I don't like milk, but I don't like cereal with alternative milks.
There is nothing greater than
a warm gulp of milk.
It's not warm. It takes, 3 minutes to eat a bowl of cereal?
God, take a breath. It takes me longer than 3 minutes to eat a bowl of cereal.
Drink it down. Delicious Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk. Delicious Cheerio milk. Delicious Vector milk. These are tasty treats that you wash down the drain.
No, I gift to you.
I need to swoop in before you flush them down the drain.
My milk strategy is to pour a little bit of cereal in, wet it with milk, eat that, and then add more cereal and a little more milk because I don't like things to get soggy. And I don't want to have a lot of milk left over.
I remember that there was, I think from season 2 of Survivor, there was a contestant and he went on late night television. And one of the things that they talked about, they were like, oh, so in your time you were a weird inventor. And he was like, I invented a swimming pool bowl for cereal. And so what you do is you have the shallow end and the deep end, and you put your milk into the deep end and your cereal up in the shallow end. And then you push a little bit of the pieces down because, there's always the ramp from the shallow end to the deep end, and it goes down to the deep end, and then you eat it, and then they stay dry up there. So you never end up with those terrible soggy bits at the end.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
Well, I have nothing more to say about Seinfeld.
Okay.
I have some corrections, though.
Okay.
So I guess I do have more to say.
I mean, technically, could you say that these are things that you're going to say about our podcast and not about Seinfeld?
We talked about flag desecration.
Oh, yeah.
While watching Puerto Rican Day. It is legal in the U.S. and Canada.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We were talking about, you wondered if there were Mets home games on the Puerto Rican Day parade. Ever. Puerto Rican Day parade happens on the second Sunday in June in New York. I asked ChatGPT to help me with this because
it's not going to answer you.
I felt like it was a question it should be able to answer.
No, it is terrible about that. That is exactly not what it should answer.
Looking up dates and comparing.
Cannot do that.
Why not?
Because it's a word prediction thing. All it does is predict what words will show up next. Has zero logic. There is no logic in an LLM.
I said something like, were there any Mets home games during the Puerto Rican Day parade? And I must have reframe the question and ask back and forth 9 times before I just decided to stop. And basically, it has happened a lot, especially up to the 80s. And then they started not playing, deliberately not playing on that day at home. So thanks a lot, LLMs. I even said, I was so mad. I was like, we're burning down the planet and you can't answer me this question. I was like, oh, yikes, sorry.
One of my employees was using one of the AI tools that we have for coding, and it couldn't do what he wanted it to do. And he just said, like, he spent hours trying to get it, and he said, like, you've ruined my day. This has been terrible. I'm incredibly disappointed with you. And it just, like, apologized, but it still could not do.
Yeah. Piece of I was at Costco on Tuesday morning.
Do you have an exclusive membership?
Exclusive membership. And I was stood in front of the sheet cakes.
Oh.
And I was going to get you a happy birthday / Seinfeld sheet cake from Costco.
Wow.
But I didn't because I thought maybe you were getting a sheet cake because we talked about Costco sheet cakes. And I was like, I can't bring a sheet cake home because then we'd have to get rid of 4/5 of it. And then if there's another sheet cake around, what are we going to do?
Back 9/5 or 9/10. So we have to get rid of a lot of sheet cake.
Math's a little off there. But I thought about it.
It's the thought that counts.
There you go. And speaking of... Go on.
So, speaking of things that we thought about doing and didn't do for this episode, I went on Cameo. And I looked up all of the people available on Cameo that had been on Seinfeld. And of those people, I narrowed it down to
Wayne Knight?
4 people that I thought you would remember being on Seinfeld.
Okay.
So there was, I'll say their names and you can tell them. So there's Wayne Knight, $460.
Yeah. I've looked it up before.
There was Steve Heitner.
Who's that?
Banya.
Banya?
Yeah. $265. Phil Morris. Jackie Childs.
Okay.
$200, and then Danny Woodburn.
Oh, okay.
Who was Danny Woodburn?
Mickey.
Okay. Yeah, you did know. Okay. Also, $200.
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't confident enough that you would remember who they were.
Are you serious?
And then you would get mad at me for having spent money on a Cameo.
Well, it's the thought that counts.
I was this close to a Banya Cameo.
Honestly, that would have been pretty funny.
It's a lot of money. It
is a lot of money. I'm glad you didn't do it. But speaking of gestures and the end of the podcast and your birthday, I have some gifts for you.
No, thank you. We can cut this part out, right?
So the first one is more podcast related. Happy end of podcast.
I thought we had one more episode. Oh, a bottle of wine. It's a reference to the episode where they talked about You've given me a 180 estate winery. We've started a winery.
It was the only product at the LCBO that had 180 in the title. So hopefully
VQA?
It's a good wine.
Hopefully it's a good wine. It's a Gamay Noir from Ontario, 2021.
There you go.
It's a screw top. We'll have to let you know how it is.
Here's another gift.
Is it a picture frame? It feels like a heavy book. Is it physical media of all our podcasts?
Printed out?
On
all our transcripts bound?
It is an autographed copy of the Seinfeld official cookbook by Julie Tremaine and Brendan Kirby.
Autographed?
It's not autographed.
So, crack it open. See some recipe samples.
Congratulations on your 179th episode, Close Talkers. Big fans, Julie and Brendan. Wow, that's so nice. Page 107. Jerry's Just Salad. Prep time, 5 minutes. In a small mixing bowl, combine the lemon juice and vinegar. Whisk in olive oil until emulsified. Add salt and pepper to taste. Place the greens in a serving bowl and toss with dressing. Serve immediately.
Just salad.
I would have never known how to do that. Here's some good 90s graphics in here. Kramer wants a Papaya King hot dog. Prep time 5 minutes. Cook time 40 minutes. Cooking for 40 minutes. Oh, you have to cook the sauce. Okay, they're making a sauce.
Okay.
Cooking a hot dog for 40 minutes is insanity. Yada yada yada. Lobster bisque. Yada 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 and lobster bisque. It's 2 different episodes. Lobster bisque is from the Soup Nazi, and yada 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 is from the yada yada yada.
I laughed when he said that he had to move to Argentina after Elaine ruined his business.
All right, well, there's a couple things in here.
Okay.
George's Jerk Store Shrimp. I like it.
Great. Here's one more gift.
Oh, it's a Kramer shirt. There's a white button-up shirt with lobsters on it. That looks like Kramer, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Pick up feministas at the beach in that shirt. It sounds high quality.
Only the finest polyester. Oh, thank you very much.
So, what's next for us?
We've talked about this.
Are we going to ever podcast again?
I was thinking about that. So, Emily V. Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani, famous couple, they had a podcast called The Indoor Kids.
Mm-hmm.
And in October of 2015, they decided to take a break. They said, like, oh, we're just, we're super busy with stuff, and like it's hard to produce them. We're gonna take a couple of weeks, months off, and we'll come back. And we'll definitely start podcasting again. And that was the last episode that they've done. So we have discussed a couple of different options, of things we could do for podcasting. And as long as we come back within
10 years,
pretty close to that. Maybe it was 2017. I might be wrong in the year. A few years. I guess we're up on Hollywood power couple, Emily V. Gordon and Kumail Nanjiani. So we will be back after I star in a Marvel superhero movie.
Okay.
Maybe. Or earlier.
Hopefully I don't get really sick like she did.
She was sick before they started podcasting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, also, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Sure, yeah. Okay. I mean, hopefully nobody gets sick. Hopefully I don't get sick either.
Well, goodbye.
Oh, so you said earlier in this episode we had an 180th something episode.
Yeah, I don't know what yet.
Okay, well,
but there will be one more.
Okay, sure. I have one last thing that I want to say.
Okay.
So, before filming the finale, and one thing that Jerry said to Michael, Julia, and Jason was a quote that has stuck with them. And I read the quote and I was thinking about using it for you and I. And so I will paraphrase his quote. And beyond just this being a podcast that you and I do together, it's you and I in life. But for the rest of our lives, whenever anyone thinks of one of us, they will think of both of us. And I can't think of anyone I'd rather have that be true of.
Shut up.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Believe it or not, this is our podcast. Please subscribe at the end. If you subscribed, we would be happy. Please subscribe to us. Believe it or not, it's our podcast.
Is that a Seinfeld reference?